Before we get started, please take the time to like, add, and subscribe to our pages on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes. Also, please leave us a review.
Like, holy cats, we're in for one there then.
Oh, and really, I think it's how it opens up, right? If it opens up into the super volcano that it supposedly is, the Earth's going to be different for a while.
Yeah, and it definitely is. It definitely is.
We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Clink!
Clink, clack, clickety clack. We are back. It is another Wandering Ways. We are wandering into, well, I think this is still February.
I hope. Or it might be March. I don't know.
Either the first week of March or last week in February, somewhere around there.
Yeah, or the third week in April. You never know when this episode's going to come out.
It's not the third week in April. I do know that much.
Hey, but to our listeners, it might be, it might be the third week in April, and you're like, hey, it's a beautiful, bright, sunshiny day where I'm at, Mark.
It is a beautiful, bright, sunshiny day where I'm at. It's like 70 degrees here today.
It's 60 degrees in Billings, and last year it was like -10 at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be 70 for me for the next 3 days. And so I'm actually hoping to get outside. I may end up playing some golf, but I'm hoping to get outside tomorrow at the worst. Maybe I'll do a nice trail run. But yeah, it's too nice to not. I get easier days at work, nice weather. It's like it lined up. The universe is saying, Mark, go outside. And so I'm like, okay, universe, I'll go outside.
Right. No, I totally get it. I totally feel it. It is I'm craving it. I'm craving the outdoors. I've been going out on the ice fishing these last couple weekends, and it's been a blast. I've caught my first ever fish ice fishing, a whole different experience than what you think it would be, and I'm excited. It was great. But yeah,
how was it? What, like, because you just get the thing, right? And it just,
yeah, so you have a tip up, right? And essentially what a tip up is, it's just a little like plastic thing or sticks. Like these are Gerald's, so they're old school. And there's these two sticks that sit across the hole. And then you have a little plastic reel on the bottom, and it has a line all around it. And it goes down. And what you want to do is you want to put the lure or the bait sitting up above, like, you about 10 feet, 12 feet, 20 feet, somewhere in that depth, and put it like 4 inches off the ground or off the bottom, so the fish see it and they hit it. Because it's winter, the fish are hungry. They want they're looking for movement. They don't fight as hard in the winter when you're reeling them in either, because it's cold, it affects them in that way. They move slower.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was reeling them in. He put up no fight.
Really?
Yeah. And so you're just on that little thing reeling it in. You can hand line it too if you want. Some guys do that. But it's a cool, the flag goes up when they hit it. This flag didn't go up. I was checking it at the end of the day, and I was like, oh shit. And I mean, this fish is like, 26, 28 inches long.
Dang, that's a good sized fish.
Yeah, big old northern. It's a good day. It was a good day. We thought we had a walleye on. We had one flag actually go up, and they were reeling it in. And what walleye do is they'll suck up the trout, right, or the bait fish or whatever the bait that they're eating, and they'll spit it out if they don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's what we think exactly what happened here, because Scott, he bought like these minnows, and he bought a fuck ton of minnows.
Yeah.
I'm talking like more than enough. Like he never checked the tip ups all day. So it's like, why did you buy that many minnows? You just needed enough for one each hook, you know? And yeah, so it was good. It was a good time. Scott's their version of Matt Buddy.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. So
always a good time to see him.
Nice. I'm glad you were able to catch something. You always, I think last time you were on talking about ice fishing, you're like, you never catch shit. So
that was the first ever fish I caught ice fishing.
Yeah. So if you follow the saga, everybody, not too long ago, you thought he was a bad ice fisherman. And now success is rings in the air.
Right. Well, I got to actually talk to Gerald and Jared. They're the ones who have the fish because Scott, we were going to give it to Scott and then he just threw it in the back of Gerald's truck. And then Gerald got home and was like, who put this here? And I was like, well, you can smoke it or bake it, do what you need with it. But yeah, I'll get you and Matt Buddy some of that pike, especially if he smokes it. It's a good fish. It's a white meat.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had pike before. I'm not a huge fan.
Well, you know.
I don't like that freshwater fish as much as like good quality sockeye salmon from Alaska, wild caught. Oh, so good. It's the best shit on earth. That's why it's called red gold.
No, I get you. I get you there. I feel I feel that there is a difference. But when cooked right, some of the stuff. Is it my pike that you've had that you didn't like?
I can't remember where I had it. I just remember, I think it was in Montana I had it.
Was it some slimy Sealy pike?
Probably. Probably.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about today, my man.
No. Today we are continuing our Montana breakdown series. So was it 2 weeks ago we did a Montana breakdown where we did a very generic overview of it. And now we're starting the real nitty gritty. We're kind of diving deeper into certain areas and we are starting things off with a classic of ours, somewhere we've been a ton of. One of the more popular places we've talked about. Everybody seems to have really enjoyed our last breakdown of Yellowstone. So we thought, new year, new me, new Yellowstone breakdown. So we're bringing you another Yellowstone breakdown, hopefully providing you not just more detail, but helpful so you can check out last year's breakdown and this year's breakdown and you can be like, wow, I'm gonna have a nice trip to Yellowstone.
Well, and that's exactly it. Things change. We're that road in the park, that Dunraven Pass, that that road's been closed the past couple of years. I thought they're going to open it up this year. I have not seen anything, so I am unsure at this moment. But that's something that people look forward to. You get up in some elevation over there. That's also the part in the park where you can see the mountain goats, if possible, sometimes of the year. I think Yellowstone, it's one of those bigger parks. It's a good starter park for people starting out looking for these national parks. It was for me. I would say, I was blessed to do it as a child with my parents, but not, I don't really remember that as clearly or as vividly as I do, when I was here growing up in, middle school, high school age, and really getting to appreciate it. And I had a girlfriend that I did the park with in high school, that I think that's the first time I really did something on my own. I went on a trip by myself with someone else. And it was to Yellowstone. It was a place that is near and dear to me, and I think having those moments and those experiences and sharing them with different people, but also experiencing them for myself, I like sharing those stories. As a local, that's basically what I am. I call myself a Yellowstone local. If you don't like it, get the F out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great park.
It is.
There's a reason why it's so popular. Um, and it is, like you were saying, it is a great one to start out if you're looking into parks and you're looking to make your first park experience really, really special.
Yeah.
Because you can do so much, you can see so much, and you can learn so much all in this park. So that's kind of what makes it so special. Today we're going to kind of just jump into kind of first the things you can do. We'll probably, because Yellowstone is so big, we'll probably break it down into little bits and pieces of areas. You know, what we'll probably start right now with, I think, our favorite section of the park, or at least it's become our favorite section of the park, is the Lamar Valley.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, before we get into this, I do want to bring up some. I think why Yellowstone is a really good first park, good starter park. It has the elements of all the national parks. It has the history. It has the natural features, the thermal features, the alien-esque kind of world there, as well as the nature views and the wildlife. And to get that all in one place is kind of rare these days. So to get that in Yellowstone, and that's why, I mean, going to the Lamar Valley first is a great spot, because it's not on everyone's top of the list. They see on the Yellowstone maps, oh, I can go to Hayden Valley. That's where I've been told there's also animals. But the Lamar itself, it's an American savanna. It's the bison in the thousands, it's the wolves, it's the moose, it's the coyotes, the foxes, the otters, all these wild creatures coming together and living in their natural ecosystem the way they have for thousands of years. And then it's up right next against the Beartooth Pass, which is, I would say, the number one entrance into the park. If you want the most beautiful, breathtaking entrance, take the Beartooth Pass into that Lamar Valley, and that'll be the highlight of your trip. I guarantee it. And you'll be like, yeah, Old Faithful was cool. West Yellowstone was cool. Jackson Hole and the Tetons were cool. Gardner was cool. But nothing's going to top the Lamar Valley with the Beartooth Pass, especially if you do it sunrise or sunset.
Yeah, no, you're right there. Sunrise, sunset is a really good time to do it. I think, one of the reasons I really like this part of the park, and why, well, maybe I shouldn't recommend it because it will ruin it for me. But typically there's not as many people out in Lamar Valley, especially compared to other places in the park. And I think it has to do with where it is located in the park. That entrance you were talking about, that's not a super populated kind of entrance to go through. It's been our luckiest one. I think every time we've gone through that, we've had banger days in the park. So, maybe it's worth just to go through it to get a banger day. But like you were saying, the American Savannah, the way it just sits, it's like a true valley almost. It's wide at the bottom, and it's not sharp like a canyon. It's a gradual up into the mountains, and it just sits there, and you can see the vastness of it. Mountains in the background, mountains to the left, mountains to the right. You see the buffalo way out there, just covering massive amounts of land. And you can get in and you can hike into there and explore this valley a little more and see it for the things that it has, because it's got the rivers to check out. You can get some elevation climb too if you're looking into it. It's one of those where I think it's the closest we can get to what like the Rockies and the like Great Plains really were before the massive like expansion west, the massive expansion of people, the massacre of buffalo. I think this is the closest we can get to that glimpse in the States now.
100%. I agree. It's the one place in the world we get the wolves actually living the way the wolves once lived. in the large numbers that they should be, the healthy numbers that they should be. It's, looking at that, camping in there, I want to say if you're camping in Cook City, it's got to be a hard top only because it's also grizzly bear country. Me and Mark, I mean, right there, coming into the park, I want to say it was by Pebble Creek area there, and we were in the thought we were looking at a grizzly bear, and another grizzly bear came out of the trees charging this other bear because it was in its area.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't in the park long that day before we saw the two bears.
Yeah.
So, you get into grizzly bear country, and then I mean, shoot, same trip, a little bit farther down the road, boom, wolf. So,
Exactly.
That's a hotbed for wildlife. So if you are camping in that area, you are going to have to be a little bit more bear aware.
Yes. Bear spray is recommended in that area. It is their home. We are invading their home. And that's also the one thing I like about the Lamar Valley too, is it's a winter spot. You can go in the park. It's the only way in and out of Cook City, Montana in the winter is through the Lamar Valley and up through Gardner there. And in the winter, I've seen some amazing things, otters, foxes, just awesome stuff, in Cook City, the cute little town it is, you can go snowmobiling there in the winter. And the lodge, I love going to the little lodge there, the Soda Butte Lodge, and having, a drink or a lunch with my pals and with Thea and, Colton and Jared when we did it. It was great. It's one of those things in the summer, do it. Go do it all if you have the time.
Yeah, 100%. So Lamar Valley is kind of probably the place that we would recommend you check out. Outside that, the next place, kind of moving a little bit west of the park there, you can head to a Mammoth from there. That's kind of the more popular route too, or you can turn and head towards like the Hayden Valley from there as well.
Yeah, you hit that Tower Roosevelt Junction.
Yeah,
and that junction is a really cool spot because that's where Teddy Roosevelt, when he came to the park, he spent a lot of time there. You could do some of the horseback riding.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they have the carriages and the horseback riding and stuff to do right there. It is actually kind of a cool little spot to do. We haven't really spent a lot of time there.
Have we eaten there together?
Yes, we went there.
Okay.
We parked in. Tell you the truth, I don't know if we actually ate, but I know we parked in that parking lot, got out of our cars, and I think we went and looked at it. I don't know if we actually sat down and ate though.
Okay, I have eaten there before, and it is a great restaurant. You feel, I mean, it's Montana, man. You have a wonderful meal around just people, right? And then you walk outside and it is quiet, and you look up at the stars and they're just in the thousands and millions, and you're like, oh my God, this is what the world should be. I have had moments right there, and you could, like you said, you can go right and go over what they call the top of the 8 of the roads. If you look at the roads in Yellowstone, they make an 8. That top of the 8, that's great for I've seen bighorn sheep, I've seen moose, I've seen elk and bear and deer and all sorts of animals in this area. And then like the Hayden Valley, I mean, I believe it was you and I, or maybe it was me and Thea, who went and we saw a baby elk after it was just chased by a wolf.
Oh yeah, that was not me. When you and I were in the Hayden Valley, we saw the bear and cubs.
Yes.
We got out of the car and we went up, and off in the distance we could see the bear and the 2 cubs.
Yeah, I remember that actually. And we were just like, yeah, what if we took a gun out right now?
And yeah, like, we were joking around. Like, yeah, that is exactly what happened on that.
Yeah. And that's where you always always get a bison on the road, and it causes like an hour delay if you're going through the Hayden Valley.
Yes.
That's where it'll happen.
Yes, that is totally true. That's where we had that big stoppage, and you have that picture of it just standing right there on the road. I always remember that one.
Right.
And then the guy was like, "Stop!" to us.
No, that was a good one. That's good because on that one, and that's where honestly I think you really start to get into. Well, before you even reach the Hayden Valley, you hit the canyon, right? And I think the Canyon Visitor Center, it's one of my favorite visitor center. It's the one with the volcano interpretive stuff. It's the one that really tells you kind of the dangers of this park. I always say watch the movie Super Volcano. It came out in like 2007. If Yellowstone blows up, that's most likely what's going to happen, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, no, the Volcano Visitor Center is really cool. And all the visitor centers really are pretty cool in this park, but that one actually, I do enjoy that one. You get to, we talked about the volcano that erupted in Tonga recently, and how massive like that was. And they put into perspective like the last time Yellowstone erupted, and all the other kind of like Mount St. Helens, which that one was a huge one we've talked about before, and they put it to scale, so you really get to see kind of like if this blows and it blows the way they say it's going to blow, like holy cats, we're in for one there then.
And really I think it's how it opens up, right? If it opens up into the super volcano that it supposedly is, the Earth's going to be different for a while.
Yeah. And it definitely is. It definitely is. It's good. That one's got all of the like geothermal, the geology, it goes into earthquakes. So if you are into that, then like, man, go check that one out for sure. And if you are into that and you are planning to go to Yellowstone, check out the Super Volcano documentary, because I mean, you can really kind of make a whole trip around that in this park, which is, which would be amazing to do, especially if you're into it. You can check out all of the thermal features, all of the different geology that happens in this park. Because it's really, it's the Earth moving in action. You get to see it in action.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a good one. And that's actually the visitor center. They have a good visitor center. They have a good little gift shop, restaurant area, campground. There's even gas there. And the Yellowstone Falls is right there, right nearby. And that's where you get some of the most breathtaking pictures of the Yellowstone River as it, on the Yellowstone Falls, from like Artist's Point all the way looking down the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. That's a good spot too in the winter if you can get across, or early spring or kind of off season, to see bears when they come out of hibernation and stuff. There's always usually some dead bison in that area, the lakes, especially near that area. That kind of you get some bears.
Yeah, the falls there are really cool. The falls there are very cool. I'm blanking on, is that where the like the canyon is, the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone?
Yeah, so when you look back the other way from the falls, that's where it begins.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was blanking on it for some odd reason, but
yeah, and it's beautiful. It's breathtaking. The colors are really cool. The yellows, the reds, the whites of the rock. I really like that. And what I also really like is kind of when you go down into more of the Hayden Valley there too, as well as like past that canyon upriver towards the lake, you really get into what the Yellowstone River truly was. And like when you're driving on I-90 to get to the park, if you're coming that way, or just any river, you know, you see these large rivers, the Missouri, the Columbia, uh, and they don't go to the grass or the top of the river like they should. You know, you go look at like this river where it's at in the park, and it goes right up to the grass, and it looks like it should be there. It fits perfectly along with the earth. And we don't think about like, because there's no water being tapped from it. You know, that's as pure as it's going to get. Whereas like you take like the Yellowstone River down here where I'm at, well, there's a city sucking up water. There's people, there's farms, there's, you know, it's not at the same level that it could be. And just to get that, it's so peaceful and so beautiful. And then you get kind of into the Fishing Bridge and Lake Village area and Bridge Bay area, which all that stuff around the lake is kind of cool as well.
Yeah, the lake it's really cool. So like, you know, if you wanted to go to the park and, you know, you could spend your whole time at the lake if you really wanted to, and do a lot of great things there. You can do a lot of classic lake activities at the park there. So, you know, you can have your lake days in such a beautiful place. So that's what makes, again, that's what adds to the value of Yellowstone is, you know, you can do a lot in this. And you can do a lot of different trips. Every time you go, you can do a completely different trip almost. And you may only overlap a little bit from the trip before from the next time. So it's, you know, going to the lake is another fabulous option. I haven't done anything really at the lake. I've been to the visitor center there that's got all the birds of Yellowstone. But it's a gorgeous lake, especially when you're looking east there. You can see the mountains in the background.
Oh yeah, I really like it. There's a lot to do. I've never done it, but there's like the boat tours that they offer. There's fishing guides. You can go fishing. I believe you can bring your own boat. It just has to pass all the like you know, the laws and stuff, the safety things, so it's not leaking oil and stuff into the lake. And I know we camped down there as a family one time when we had our camper, and we spent about a week down in that area. We were camped in the Bridge Bay area, and you know, like once a day we'd go drive over here, drive over there, go do this activity. Actually spent time in like, well, we're going to go down to the ranger talk and listen to them talk. You know, which is awesome to have. You know, those campgrounds, especially as a kid, are fun because you run into other kids and you're hanging around, you're riding your bikes and that kind of stuff too. And that's what's fun is Yellowstone had that as a child for me, you know, and now as like an older adult, I'm starting to get into like, I'm going to hike this place. I'm going to go get in the backcountry. I'm going to go do this. You know, I'm going to go explore this for the other things it has to offer because there's just so much more. You know, and we're trying the best we can to talk to from our experiences to tell you guys. And I know it's like we're missing so much more.
That's why we're doing another breakdown.
Right.
No, we missed some from the last time.
Exactly.
But no, yeah. So from the lake there, you kind of, the farther south you go, you start to get to, you know, the hot pots and the, you know, all of that, like the steaming dragon, I think it is.
Yeah, you have
very cool.
You have like the mud volcano. You get into the West Thumb area. In that area, that's those geysers and the hot pots right on the lake. And those to me are the best ones to go to. It's not as busy. And you're on the lake, which makes it even that much more cool. Because I know there's the people that go to Yellowstone and they see the hot pots and they're like, you know, like you seen them and you seen them all. But like you do and you don't, because they are different. They're really cool. I like them. I go back to them. I love the Grand Prismatic. I'll keep going back to it. Sue me,
yeah.
You know. But I like that. And then West Thumb, what's really cool there is you can go down, and that's a very popular route going south there, right into the Grand Tetons. You have Lewis Lake, which is another lake you can put boats on and do things, more activities. And a lot of people actually come from that route because they're doing both parks. Another good route into the park that we didn't hit is the route in from Cody, Wyoming. And that's the east entrance, and it kind of goes around a little bit of the lake, and you're up on like a mountain ridge the whole time. I haven't seen a lot of wildlife. We did have some wildlife encounters, not a lot when I did that one. Cody is also a really cool town if you have the time. They got like the museum there, and it's just another one of your western, Wyoming towns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget about that one just because I've never gone out that way or come in from that way because I'm typically heading. I've come from the south up, from Tetons up. I've come in from Billings to Cook City there, but usually I'm going either into Gardner or West Yellowstone. So I forget about the Cody entrance a lot. But going down to those hot pots there,
well,
that are
there's
right
not
on
a
the
lot
lake. Sorry, go.
Well, there's not a lot over there. There's only a few like picnicking areas. There's no campgrounds. There is a lake over by Cody that has camping and stuff, but inside the actual park itself, there's not a lot to offer other than a road inward. Most of your stuff is on that figure 8 of the roads, I would say. But like you said, the West Yellowstone and Gardner entrances are very common. The West Yellowstone one there follows the Madison River, and I've had extraordinary encounters on that as well. So, but yeah, go back to West Thumb, talk about the geysers.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, you were saying you seen one, you see them all, but it is like this is a nice one, to go to because, like you were saying, it's on the lake, so you can see these hot pots, the bright blue, and then you get the backdrop of the lake. So if you're into photography, this is kind of a good spot for you to go to because you can really kind of start to depending on the angle you can get some amazing pictures of the hot pots with the lake and mountains in the background. So if you're the photography type, this is an area I would probably go check out just so you can take some cool pictures. And then, anytime you get into these hot pots, the bacteria and the color that you get from the bacteria on these is amazing. It just, sometimes they really pop, and it's like really, really cool to see.
Well, you exactly right. You've seen it enough, and I know I have. And I mean, I want to see it more, but you go on like a cloudy day and you go on like a sunny day and you go on, kind of an overcast, sun's peeking through. You get the pools, they give you a different color every time. It's it's the same blue, it's the same red, but that vibrancy, you go there on a nice sunny day, you're like, oh my God, Grand Prismatic, talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So true. It really is. It is so true that, that kind of thing happens, where depending on the weather, the different things are brighter, things are duller, but they're still all very, very cool to kind of see. It's what makes you want to go back, is because there's going to be something just as cool there the next time you go, even though you may have seen it again. There's just so I was kind of thinking of getting into sport fishing again, but I feel like I need a good quality net.
Well, you know what, Reverend? I got the key solution for you. Our friends at Blue Ribbon Net make this eco-friendly aquafade bag, so you're not hurting the environment. It's 100% biodegradable. Plus, the wood is locally sourced, and it is also biodegradable, and it's just such a great company to use. The Blue Ribbon Nets, they're here in Bozeman, Montana, and we even have a discount code. That's right. If you use the code Rougarou10, that's right. That's my Jeep, the Rougarou. Rougarou10, RUGARU10, you're going to get some discount on a blue ribbon net. You know, you can get the long one if you're fishing the big fish, or you can get just the good river one, you know, if you're like me and just want to catch a lot of fish.
So again, make sure you go check out Blue Ribbon and use the promo code Rougarou10.
Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You know, you use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING WAYS, and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
There's just too much cool shit out there. And
yeah,
speaking of cool shit in nature and cool shit, it's time for cool shit in nature. So this time I've got one that's kind of Yellowstone-ish theme. I don't think it's that much of a Yellowstone theme. And then I got one that I just really liked. But this first one here is pretty this is why you need to be bear aware. But it's just a video of two bears essentially going at it. They're having themselves a fight, and they're powerful. You're like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, these guys are big.
Yeah, they're big, and they are going at it.
But like what's crazy is we look at that, right? Like this to them, I don't know how serious this one is. Like this could even be play fighting, right?
It very well could. I was actually just thinking that as we're watching this. Like, I don't know how much, especially like right now, how they're just kind of there. Like, I think this is more of a play fight.
But exactly to them, this is a play fight. But one of those blows, a human is dead.
Yeah, that's so true. This is a sparring match right here.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Two big old grizzlies. Dang, that's nice.
Yeah, they're big, you know.
Big bears, yeah. Dance around a tree.
Yeah, they are. Those are two big bears.
Yeah.
So the next one here, just so it's my favorite cat. It's a nice, just snow leopard chilling. I think somewhere in like a zoo or something, because the thing it's sitting on looks man-made.
Yeah, and it's beautiful with the snow falling on him, and you can tell.
Oh, it's a very peaceful little video because it's a snowy day. He's just chilling. The snow's very like kind of softly falling. Right now, I just imagine if there was music, it'd be like just a very soft piano.
I get it. I get the whole wanting a big cat as a pet thing. I get it. I understand it. I'm in.
The eyes are beautiful.
Exactly. We need a Wandering Ways snow leopard.
Oh yeah, I'd be down.
On our nature preserve.
Yeah, I just have a nice little pet old snow leopard.
Yeah, we rescue big cats.
Yeah.
Cat rescue.
Jumping back to Yellowstone, we're gonna try and hurry the things up of things to do so that way we can leave enough time today to talk about places to sleep and hopefully maybe at the end talk about things around the park too, because there's not just the park there, but there are things around the park that can really make your trip as well. But yeah, so keeping from there, you kind of head back north of the little figure eight, and you're going to hit the classic Old Faithful.
Yeah. On that drive, you're going to pass the Continental Divide, which is sometimes a checkbox for some people. But Old Faithful is probably the destination here where you're going. It gets you right into the geyser area. There's a lot of other geysers in this area. There's a lot of other access to geysers, hiking trails, and just some cool stuff all along that Firehole River. Also, I would say this is the most developed visitor center area in the park.
Yes.
Old Faithful is iconic. Again, we talk about seeing the different colors on things. Old Faithful, you go on a really cold day, man, that thing looks huge. You go on a warm day, it doesn't look as big.
Yes, that is very, very true. It is also very crowded. This is one of the more crowded areas of the park. So, be prepared for people when you do go. I always encourage people to hike around the area a little bit, because that's where you get rid of the people in that park. And you don't have to go far to get rid of them. It's actually kind of incredible how far you don't have to go to get rid of a lot of people.
Exactly. No, I like this one. I mean, there's the snow lodge, there's the cabins, there's the actual lodge there to stay at, there's the food and the shopping. If you want to go fly fishing, there's even a fly shop there, cafe, grill, they have it all. And they have multiple visitor centers. They have a art center there. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. A lot going on, a lot of places to stay right there too, which we'll get back to as well. But you keep, the farther north you go into this little figure eight that we are kind of going on, you start getting into some more geysers, some hot thermal areas. There's not the huge, I think that, what is it, the Firehole River? Is that what it is there?
That's what you're following. So basically next after Old Faithful, the next big stop is the Midway Geyser Basin, and that's what has Grand Prismatic.
Yeah, and Grand Prismatic we've talked about before. It's amazing. It's worth the stop.
It's the picture you see of the hot pots at Yellowstone. It's that's what it is. It's the traffic's kind of busy there. So really, the other thing with these places, I would say Old Faithful and Grand Prismatic especially, go at the weird times of the day when not a lot of people are out. Those are the best times. If you're going to go at noon, expect a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you're going to go at busy times, just expect a lot of people. I would say especially from, that if you're doing the drive from Tetons out to West Yellowstone, that whole road part of the park, that, you're going to expect people if you're there between the time of 11 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Yeah, this area, Old Faithful, Grand Prismatic, and even Mammoth, they get crowded, and this might be worth starting your day in the park at, because you don't get as many people. If you get an early start, you can go check out these. You'll get a sunrise, right? A sunrise with Old Faithful or Grand Prismatic would be amazing to do. And so it might be worth doing that, even if you did the little hike up to the upper spot for Grand Prismatic. That would be kind of pretty sweet to do. These would be a really good spot to start. And then you can get into, the Hayden Valleys, the Lamar Valleys, or whatever hike you had planned. Maybe you want to do a longer hike that's around Old Faithful or Grand Prismatic, but you can see your highlight spot, and then you can get into the park a little bit more for the day. And then you come out and pick your spot for food, dinner, and maybe a beer or something after, or beverage, whatever your thing of choice is.
Yeah, no, exactly. And pretty much from there, That's about it. I mean, you have the Norris Geyser Basin and the Norris Museum. That's more hot pots, more geysers. The museum's really nice. You have the Museum of the Park Ranger as well over there. And then that's kind of the figure eight loop there. You can get back across over to Canyon Village. And you see some good stuff there. There's just a lot of forest, so you're not seeing a lot of animals in this area. It's
you
more
will see buffalo.
Yeah,
there's buffalo everywhere.
We've come across coyotes and wolves in these areas too, but it's just not as common.
Yes, very true.
And then some of my favorite spots along the way, you got Obsidian Cliff, Sheep Eater Cliff, Pelican Lake, I believe or is it Pelican Lake or Swan Lake? Swan Lake.
Swan.
Yeah. Along the way as well that you can stop at and look, and there's just some cool spots to go. But I mean, as for the highlights, I mean, your highlights are the Lamar Valley, Hayden Valley, the lake, the Geyser Basin, Old Faithful, Norris, and Grand Prismatic are going to be what everyone wants on their lists.
Yeah, this is the area where you kind of get the traditional car tour or bus tour kind of routes where it's like, all right, we're driving to this spot to get out for a little bit. And then you drive to this spot to get out for a little bit. We're going to take this little scenic offshoot for a little bit. We're going to take this scenic off route for a little bit. It's this area kind of from Mammoth down to Old Faithful that you're going to see a lot more of this. So if you are planning to do that kind of route, understand parking could be a bitch at all of these little stops because there are just so many people. And then especially, with COVID, they haven't done the bus tours as much. But once they get that going again, anticipate a lot more people. Although, they got the little tram thing, the little bus things now, which that could change the whole game. We haven't quite seen how that's going to affect the park. Hopefully we'll find out real soon how we can get some firsthand experience to see how it affects the park. But
I think that, if you're listening to this, we on our agenda have a plan in July, or actually late June, to be going to Yellowstone Park. So the episode will probably come out sometime in July or August, where we talk about that. But I know we're going to make it a point to try and get over to Canyon to see these little vans that Mark's talking about.
Yeah.
And let you know about them.
Yeah, because I think we've talked about it. Like this could be a big game changer in helping crowd control in these parks. Is figuring out these like electronic tram buses that they've got. But yeah, so we haven't really talked about Mammoth a whole lot. That is another more populated area. The Mammoth Hot Springs is up there. It's close to Gardner, where the Roosevelt gate is.
So you have the hotel.
The hotel up there.
You have that's the park headquarters. That's open year round. That's where people live in the park. Those markets and stuff are open. There's restaurant. There's the superintendent of the park lives there. That's the courthouse. There's a post office.
Yeah.
You're going to see elk in that area. There's good bighorn sheep in that area. You come down I think that's the Firehole River too, right? Where it comes into the Yellowstone and Gardner rivers there. And that river, you can there was a hot springs you could hike up to where it's hot in the river, but I don't know. It's been closed for a long time.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's there. As for staying in the park or sleeping, making those overnights, there's honestly a ton of options, and there's a ton of different kind of options too in this park, which is a huge plus. You can do the hotel route. There's tons of hotels. Between hotels and lodges, there's about 9 in the park, just there alone. Down in Old Faithful, up in Mammoth, all over kind of the park, you can do it. There's cabins down at Old Faithful we've stayed in, very nice. So there's a lot of options for that kind of route.
Yeah.
Or there's the classic camping route. There's
right here.
I don't know how many. There's just a ton of them.
You have Mammoth, Madison, Fishing Bridge, Norris, Bay Bridge, Tower Fall, Canyon, Grant Village, Indian Creek, Pebble Creek, Slow Creek, and Lewis Lake campgrounds. Some of them they've updated. A lot of them have RVs available. Like I said, if you're staying in like the Cook City area, you're going to stay in a hardtop, no tents. Backcountry camping is even a thing that you can do.
Yeah, very, very true. So the thing, one important note, whether you're doing the lodge route, whether you're doing the camping route, and part of the reason why we're doing this podcast this time of year right now is you got to plan ahead. Even if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm going to go to Yellowstone right now, it could honestly arguably be too late. These do fill up very, very quickly.
But they do have some first come, first serves.
That is very true.
You gotta be up early.
That is
crack of dawn type stuff.
It is that people will line up. And that's in all parks when it comes to the first come, first serve.
But this park I would say this park especially more because it's a busy, high hit park.
Yes.
And it's a large park too. So getting across to you can't just get over there, from Madison to Mammoth in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's, 20-30 minute drive, maybe longer even.
Yeah. So, if you are planning to stay in the park, you're going to have to plan ahead. Even if you're doing the first come, first serve, you're going to have to plan how you're going to get in line to get that first come, first serve. Because holy cats, it could be a real doozy of a wait for you, or it could be hard to get just a spot because it's popular. Yellowstone's really cool. So, if you're going
to day.
Yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of time in the park waiting for the first come, first serve, because they have to have people leave in order for you to get in. So just be prepared for getting your spot. Think ahead, because it is just that crowded. So we've done the things to do, sleeping, and we have just a little bit of time. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I still think it's worth, because Yellowstone National Park is not just Yellowstone National Park. There are things around, especially if you can't find that place to stay in the park. You can stay in a Cook City, you can stay in a Gardner, you can stay in a West Yellowstone. You can stay down in the Tetons. You can camp. That's what we did one time. We stayed in the Tetons, and then we went up to Yellowstone that day, next day. So that's why it's worth us talking now about things around the park. We're not going to do Teton because that deserves a whole breakdown. But
no, exactly. I mean, West Yellowstone, there you have the museums. It's a lot more lodging options, a lot more shops, restaurants, that kind of thing. Same with Gardner. That's where you're going to be able to go whitewater rafting as well. Go find some expeditions up the Paradise Valley, Beartooth Pass out to Cook City. We talked to Cody a little bit, but even in the park, that things that are both outside and inside the park you can do. You can go fishing, you can go boating on some of the lakes. You can find those horse rides and carriage rides. I know Gardner and Yellowstone offer those as well as places inside the park. Plus, there's many other swimming areas, hot springs around the area, places to unwind, decompress, and show the family like, hey, just because we're not in the park doesn't mean we can't have a great time. That's where I think sometimes you can get away with more of the fun. It's easier to go whitewater rafting outside the park. It's easier to go fishing in Montana than it is in the park. Various things like that come up. That people like to do.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we stayed in that house in, I think it's Idaho, technically.
Yeah, it was Hayden Lake, Idaho, I believe is where we were at.
Somewhere just right on the border of Montana and Idaho there. I've stayed in West Yellowstone in the winter. If you're making the winter rounds, West Yellowstone is very popular because a lot of tours get run out of there. You just start in West Yellowstone and you drive on in, whether it's by snowmobile or snow bus or whatever. They just take you on in there. And West Yellowstone is actually a cool little spot to check out. Gardner is as well. Those are the two I've really kind of checked out.
I'd recommend the Running Bear pancake place in West Yellowstone to eat at. I would also I would recommend Chico. We always throw Chico out there when you're staying up in the Gardner area. You could stay in a nice old dude lodge, kind of get your hot springing on, go into the park, relax. It's fun. I mean, it's a vacation. That's most likely why you're doing it. So figure out what you want to do. There's a lot to do there. You're experiencing the Wild West, or what's left of it, at least. So however you want to do that, is it, yeah, I'm going rafting. No, I just want to see animals. No, I just want to do hikes. The Beartooth has great hikes. West Yellowstone has great hikes around. Just because you're not in the park doesn't mean you're not in the Yellowstone area. The Yellowstone area is a lot more. Sometimes some of the better stuff is on that national forest land or that private land because someone bought it, but there's some stuff out there that is accessible that you can get to that is worth it.
100%. It's the beautiful thing. I got to be that guy. We got to kind of go into our final words, but before we do the final words, to like close up this kind of about Yellowstone, we missed a lot with doing this breakdown, partly because there's just so much to it, which is why we redid it. So make sure, the last one we talked about other things. We talked about some similar things as well, but we talked about some hikes back in the other one. So make sure you go check out that one, listen to it, learn more about the park, check out all of the trips we've done into Yellowstone, the firsthand kind of trips into it, whether it's a winter one, whether it's a summer one. You go make sure you listen to those because you can learn a whole lot about it. Because I think the more you know about this park going in, the better you can have of a trip. Not to say if you went in blind, you wouldn't have a bad trip. You can just have an amazing trip if you know what you got going forward, and you plan ahead. So go back, listen to our other episodes on this, from the breakdown to all of our trips again. But yeah, it's now time for our final words. So final words, my guy.
Yeah, guys, thank you for sticking along this long. If you have, we really do appreciate it. Please take the time to drop us a review. Just give us the 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever that may be. It helps us out. We really want to help you guys with your park experiences. We got some big things coming up. If you're staying tuned to the weekly saga or the social media saga, you see we got a lot of plan. We got big parks this summer of 2022 coming up, going up to Geyser, doing a chalet, which is a crazy experience. I'm glad we got to do that, but we also had to book it 6 months in advance, so back to that planning. When it comes down to these parks, Yellowstone is a great park, and I'm glad you said that, if you went in blind, that you're going to have a great time, because yes, you are. But it's also one of those parks that if you want to do something that is feasible in this park, go do it, because you're going to have a blast doing that. So really understand, do the research if you want to, or just sit back and enjoy the ride, because that is Yellowstone. I love, like I say, I always talk about it, taking people there for the first time and seeing like the smiles on their faces, the joy. We talked that trip where we were at in Hayden Lake there, we stayed, we brought some of our friends, YOLO, we talked to him. That's a good interview we talk about Yellowstone Park with, and his experience in this park for the first time, and just like us knowing him as he's a city guy true and through, but to just have the experience he had in this place and just love it and want to come back, and be like, I want to show, my girlfriend this, I want to come back here. And every time, would you ever leave Yellowstone saying, okay, I'm done with it, I no need to come back here, right? It's always like, no, we need to go back and see that.
Yep. No, that's very true.
But yeah,
Reverend's final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful, everybody. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are awesome. Um, you guys really, really are. The sun is starting to come out a little more. If you paid attention to good old Puxatani, he said 6 more weeks of winter, but climate change is probably going to speed that up a little bit. So the sun is going to come out. Pros and cons there, but that means we can get outside. So let's get outside. I'm trying to do that this weekend because it's supposed to be 70. I'm hoping to do a nice trail run in a new place that I haven't gone on Saturday. So just go out there, get outside, do amazing things, stay beautiful, and have a wonderful rest of your day. With that being said, peace out, everybody.
bye.